Hello and welcome back to the Celtic Kickoff. Well, we've got European rugby done and dusted for the time being. Got a few more months to wait for it, but the group stage is done. Round of 16 has been confirmed. We've got some injuries to talk about. We've got some positive returns to talk about. Joining me, as always, is my lovely co-host Dan. How you getting on, bud?
Good, good. Long weekend of rugby. Glued to my sofa. I've caught all Friday's games, all Saturday's games. I've not managed to catch many of today, though. I've seen the scores, but I've not watched them. Interesting to see the way that things all lined up.
Yes, well, we'll get into that in a minute because we have got two games to talk about first.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday evening, Glasgow Warriors go all the way down to the strip.
Oh,
They go
diving
for
right
their
in.
revenge. Yeah, straight in. Do they get their revenge? No. 24-7 to the Harlequins, and probably, I think we both agreed on this, probably Glasgow's worst performance in a long time.
Oh, that was Glasgow's worst performance of the season, bar none. That absolutely woeful. I was screaming at my TV watching that. Um, I struggled to defend Johnny Matthews not being selected in the Scotland squad
There we go.
after that game. Like I've been one of Johnny Matthews' biggest advocates for he needs to be in the squad, he needs to be the main man. But I've not. I'm going to see if I can try and bring up the stats from that game. But Glasgow's lineout must have been less than 50%. Like it just felt like, yeah, we were losing. Doesn't matter. We were going front, middle, back, just constantly not straight, not knowing that. Oh yeah, but they didn't jump. But you still have to jump. There's certain stuff when the law
Yeah,
changes. If you have
I'm
to
so
operate a line out, you should know how a line out works.
absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that. So for those that don't know, that basically now you can throw a line out not straight, so long as your opposition doesn't contest. However,
Yeah,
you must jump for the ball.
you must
What
contest it yourself.
you must actually,
Basically.
yes, compete for it yourself, and it doesn't have to be straight if the opposition doesn't jump. And what
Mhm.
Glasgow did was threw it skew with, nobody jumped for it, and then got in trouble for it. And Johnny Matthews and I believe it was Alex Samuel that was confused with it. Both looked at the referee like, "Yeah, but the new laws," and the referee's like, "You still need to jump for it."
Mhm. Yeah, and the thing is, right? The referee didn't have to do that. I'm defending the ref here. It's not the referee's job to coach the players. That's a coach's job. So the fact that that was worked on as a tactic and they didn't know
That's weird.
is that's bizarre. That's absolutely bizarre. Um, so yeah, look, that's the way it is. But he wasn't the only one. I'm not pinning it on
No, no,
Johnny
no.
Matthews. I think he's usually exceptional. We'll get into later on about him not being in the Scotland squad. We always do, but he's. I think a lot of players had an off game. Like we couldn't hold on to a ball. I
No,
don't think I've seen a Glasgow squad fumble as many balls before.
no. I've not seen a Glasgow team like panic for a pass. But I think you
Hmm.
noticed it earlier on in the game before I did, but like the one I noticed must be about 60, 65 minutes in. I believe it was Henko Venter that went to pass like directly behind him and then immediately went,
Yeah,
"Oh, wait a minute, there's no one there," and then kind of deer in the headlights all just hit up. I was like, what was that?
yeah. Where am I going? Who am I passing to? Just
Yeah.
the players had absolutely no idea what was going on or who to pass to. And it was basically it's like Harlequin had worked out what the Warriors' game plan was, and the
Mhm.
Warriors didn't have a way to play through it.
That's
Like I
fair enough.
know that there was a couple of key players missing for there's no Hastings, no Kyle Stain, no Tui Pilotu, but I remember hearing the commentator said that 11 out of the starting 15 for Glasgow were Scotland internationals, which is a huge number. Not many teams, I think maybe Leinster are the only other team. Leinster and Toulouse are the only other teams that might have that luxury.
True.
They should know how to adapt on pitch if a game plan isn't working. Look, and I'm not saying you should win every game, but
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Harlequins beat Glasgow convincingly, and they had two tries chopped off.
Yeah,
So
they just had them everywhere. They had them just This is what the bit that annoyed me. Glasgow have already qualified. They knew before going into this game that they were in the last 16, that they were getting a home fixture on that one. Quins desperately needed that win.
They needed a bonus point win.
But you would think, looking at it, Glasgow, like with the frantic plays and the panicking, you think Glasgow were the ones desperate for that win.
Yeah.
And it was such a mess. On the plus side, Jack Dempsey's returned, which is great.
Yeah,
Played over an hour.
although I thought he looked like he might have hobbled off injured when he got subbed off. He wasn't looking great.
Somebody commented this on my stuff that Dempsey's went off early. I was like, no, over an hour in on your return after you've not played since November. That's not early.
Mm-hmm. Maybe look, that was just. I've not heard anything, right? But I think I must have left the room to go make myself a cup of tea or something. I came back in and I just saw Jack Dempsey on the sidelines, and it just looked like he was hobbling, like he was. I was like, oh no, he's not gone off injured. Although I missed it because not all the game. Jen was working, so I had to pause the game just before it kicked off, run, pick up my fiance from work, bring her home. And what I did was I watched the game from the beginning, but anytime the ball went out of play, I'd fast forward through all the stoppages until I caught up. But I missed the Scott Cummins injury somehow. What happened to him there?
I don't know. I watched the. I genuinely don't know. I think it must have just been like he might have just the way he knocked it in contact or something. But I did see him go off and immediately get a big cast on. I was like, that's not good. And it was only 14 minutes in.
Yeah,
he's early, and I'm just like, oh balls.
Yeah, it's just going to be. One second. So yeah, sorry about that. So neither of us actually seen how Cummins went off, but
I think
according to the media,
I believe he just got tackled. That's just how he got tackled.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it's
you were saying?
Looking just at a tweet that Tom English put out earlier. It looks like it's some sort of hand injury, and he's now a maybe for the Six Nations as well. And annoyingly, I think that's the one area that we might not have huge amounts of depth at the moment is lock. I think it probably clears the way for a returning Johnny Gray. But
yeah, I think this
Cummings is a worrying one.
Yeah, I think this would give probably maybe Sam Skinner, or we'll get into Sam Skinner a bit more later on, but Sam Skinner or maybe Cameron Henderson a call up. Either or. That works. So it's not all doom and gloom, but yeah, Scott Cummins has a massive blow. Although if it was a hand injury, why would it be in a sling? That might just be, I don't know.
Just might have been resting out. He might have not have known it originated in the hand at the time. You just never know. That's
fair. Just because we're on the topic of injuries, Sione Tuipulotu. Now this has rubbed me the wrong way. I know you've posted an update video that says it actually looks worse. But see, when the news broke yesterday, and I phoned you, we both did videos on it, was the most pointless thing I think I've ever read. So the report from BBC itself said that Sione Tuipulotu has, during training this week with the Glasgow Warriors, had to come down with an upper body problem.
Upper body injury.
No,
it was upper body problem. Didn't you say injury?
Upper body problem. Now, is that, what's that? Cheekbone, nose, jaw, collarbone,
virus, cough?
Cough, yeah. Who knows? It was so vague, but it was catching like a wildfire. People, every news outlet was talking about it, and I'm like, there's nothing to talk about.
So I've been following this closely and tried to keep me ear to the ground for what's real and what's BS. So for those of you that don't know, I believe Tuipulotu has already gone and seen a specialist. I think he saw a specialist in London who have assessed it. It sounds like it's a pec injury. It was a bizarre incident that happened training for the Glasgow Warriors. Now, Tuipulotu was never going to play against Harlequins anyway. A lot of people seem to think that, that he was pulled out. He was never named in the original
No,
squad.
no.
Now, there has been some comments going, yeah, Scotland are known for doing this before. I do think he's injured. Some sources close to the Glasgow Warriors have said to the BBC that there is a serious possibility that he could be out for the entirety of the Six Nations. He has joined the Scotland camp today to be assessed by Scotland's own medical team. And they go from there. I assume that by the time you're listening to this, it'll probably be rather, Monday or later. We record this on Sunday night. That you'll probably already know by then. But I'm expecting to have some sort of verification of what's going to happen Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
But right now, that's all I've got.
I never did an update video because, for one, I didn't know the update, and two, I said in my original video that, once Scottish Rugby's put something out, I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've not. Well, I've been busy today anyway, so I wouldn't have done that. But so Sione might be out, but might not be out, but could be hurt, and it was very vague and it was really annoying. So who knows at this point? Let's be honest, nobody really knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah. On that one, I was hoping to get a response before we did the pod. I sent a message to our mate Dave Rugby Malls, asking him how he would feel sort of as an England and a Northampton fan for Hutchinson if he was to replace Tui Pilotu for the Six Nations. I've not got an answer off of him yet, unfortunately. But how do you feel about that? Let's go worst case scenario, and unfortunately, Tui Pilotu is out until April or something, right? Let's just say it's a torn pec. I'm hoping, look, fingers crossed, touch wood, that's not the case. I don't want anyone to jump to conclusions. I don't know anything. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Let's just say he is out until April. And you've got the choice, Hutchinson or McDowell. We'll make a case for both. How would you feel about Hutchinson?
I love it. He's been on top form the entire season for Saints. Whether that be in the 12, in the 13, or even at 10, he did that a couple of weeks ago. And he got rewarded. He was in the Scotland team in the autumn. He had a good game against Portugal. He set up a beautiful try for Josh Bayliss. And we were really praising him. He's now signed this new deal at Saints, and he's just got so much better. He is everywhere in that game. He is offloading left, right, and centre. He's taking the ball up himself. He's got a decent kicking game on him. You're almost. I would change the tactics because obviously Sione's a bit more of a brute, where Rory's a bit more playmaking. But that's fine.
Player.
Yeah, but that's fine because the rest of the back line that we've got, I'm sure we can handle.
Can play champagne rugby. I have said this before. I think that Rory Hutchinson might be the best player to not get a regular game for Scotland. He's probably the most naturally gifted player that doesn't play regularly.
He's just so good. Plus, I've already come up with a nickname because you get Huey Pilotu. We're going to get Huggy. We're going to get Shuggy and Huggy.
Huggy.
I want a Huggy.
My next question was, if Tui Pilotu goes down, do you change the midfield partnership or does Hugh Jones stay?
I think Hugh Jones stays. I don't see why he has to get punished, to be honest.
You wouldn't go Staff and Hutchinson?
I mean, you could, but I'd like to see Huggy. I'm going with it now. It's in my head.
Huggy. I'm just seeing the nappy brand. Huggy.
Yeah. No, it's Huggies. It's not plural.
Huggies.
Thing is, right, you can have Staff. You can have Staff, and it makes perfect sense. Him and Hugh Jones work together at Harlequins. No, they don't. They work together at Glasgow. Sorry. Stafford's highly regarded by the Scotland camp. He's been captain.
Yeah.
He comes back for Glasgow and he's straight in as captain, even when he's not a regular starter. So he is well respected. He's got the leadership qualities. He is a big lad. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
no wrong. I feel like I'm a broken record saying this phrase, but there is no wrong answer. But
No.
personally,
Although,
I would.
I'd go
Yeah.
Hutchinson as well.
Everyone wants a huggy.
It's I would have been Stafford up until the Harlequins game. He was one of the other players I thought had a terrible game against Harlequins with Stafford.
Maybe
And
for
usually
me.
he's so good. And I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's just bad day at the office. But and he was captaining that ship as it was going down. So for me, if there's a backup spot for grabs, I feel like he played himself out
Okay.
of that.
Fair enough.
Which I feel
Fair enough.
horrible saying that, but yeah.
He'll still get a chance, but I think right now, if we have to, if it's a worst case scenario, I think Hutchison gets that 12 jersey. Personally,
Yeah. So it's going to be Huey Pilotu or it's going to be Huggy. We'll find out what is going to be Huggy. We have to trademark that if it happens. The Huggy combo.
trademark it. Patent pending. Do you know what actually annoyed me about injuries? And this was clickbaited to the max. I think it was the Scotsman. Like, Scotland fans worry after Finn Russell HIA. I was like, what do you mean? He was back on the field.
Yeah.
This came out
clickbait. Today.
It came out today. He had to go for a HIA. I was like, he came back on. He was on in 10 minutes. It's fine. And apparently it wasn't, I don't know how true this is, apparently it wasn't a head knock. It was the gum shield that picked something up.
That went off. So,
but, yeah.
Like, if he went off and he stayed off, then yeah, maybe. Even though, and this is no disrespect for Italy, if he to go out for 2 weeks or so, and he missed the Italy game, but he was back for Ireland, I think Scotland have enough strength and depth that at home they would be able to beat Italy fairly comfortably, even without Tui Pilotu and Finn Russell playing. Not that I'm advocating that that's what they should do, is rest them both, but even if neither of them were playing, I still back Scotland to beat Italy at Murrayfield fairly convincingly.
I mean, there is that. Just because you mentioned it, you could rest. In theory, you could rest Sealy for the next 3 weeks, essentially.
You rest him definitely for the URC. You have to play your strongest squad versus Italy just because I think you need a game to get up to international intensity.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if there's that, he might not be 100%. Just give him an extra week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they'll know, like, with the Tui Pilotu thing, right? It's like if it fucking pinged and something snapped, you would know straight away, and you would look. He's torn something. He's going to be out for a prolonged period of time. But it sounds the way it's getting reported, it's probably just a wee bit. It's a wee bit tender, a wee bit sore, and it's like, okay, we need to find out if you don't touch it and you don't rest it, will it heal on its own within a couple of weeks? So I don't think it's one of these things where a tendon severed or a pec's torn or something like that. It's probably something just a bit.
A torn pec, it would go purple. Like by now, anyway, of us recording that would be bright purple.
Mm-hmm.
Like as purple as like the training top Glasgow have. It's not nice.
Northern Lights purple.
I've seen a few torn pecs, and it's horrible. Anyway, so Sione might be hard, but we've come up with a solution. We want a huggy.
So look, we're going off on a couple of tangents here. We'll just get back. We'll finish off the Glasgow game before going off to Edinburgh. So, Johnny Matthews and Stafford didn't feel like they had good games. Tom Jordan did all right, I thought. One of the few players I'll probably give pass marks to. And one thing that I always forget about him is the length of the boot that boy's got. Like, he can boot a ball 80 meters. Yeah.
My I think I said it on my video. The player I would have picked for player of the match from Glasgow's end would have been Kyle Rowe.
Mm.
Just because out of it, when Glasgow were attacking, he seemed to be the most present. He was trying to do stuff. He set up Tom Jordan's try. It was his initial break that started that. He also got absolutely dicked by Chandler Cunningham South, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But hey, I think I
Rowe's
just felt
great.
like, yeah, yes, I love Kyle.
He quietly flies under the radar. There's a couple of players which him does quite well. I think Ashfar did quite well as well when he came on. But yeah, Kyle Rowe always seems to score tries. He assists. He always does more than you expect him to. Like when you think of Scottish wingers, it's always like Doohan or Darcy or Kyle Steyn or sometimes Kinghorn. They're the big names that come to mind. You never really think Kyle Rowe. I know he's fairly new onto the scene, but he always has a good game. He very rarely has a bad game. He's an unselfish player, which can be quite a rare trait for wingers.
That's a good point. Yeah,
and he's got a better kicking game than most, which is something that I feel like Scottish wingers sometimes lack. Is a decent kicking game.
Fair.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I was going to say about it just wasn't Glasgow's day at the office.
One bit that I skipped over there just before we move on from Glasgow, right? There's two players I want to highlight. In our 12 conversation, could you see an argument for starting TJ at 12?
You could,
with Shucky, just as a second distributor, so we don't lose that part of the game that Tuipulotu's got.
But Hutchinson plays like a distributor for Saints. I think
so. Would you still? You've got the choice of three, right? Let's just say Murray's picking the squad. Tuipulotu's out, and you're like, okay, we've got three positions here. We need to fill 12. We've got Tom Jordan, we've got Hutchinson, and we've got Staff. Bench one. Start one, bench one, drop one. So that's what it's going to be, isn't it? Start one, bench one, drop one.
Haven't played this game in a while. I'll start Hutchinson.
Start Hutchie.
I'll bench TJ. And I'm going to have to drop Staff.
Yeah, I'd probably put the same, just for the versatility of the bench as well for TJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And another man with a massive boot who's quietly developing, and not for this Six Nations, but I'm more looking forward to him in the summer tour, because he'll get some game time when the Lions are on. Ben Ashfar's coming along quite nicely.
He's just great. I love Ben.
He seems to be developing into a real talent. But because Scotland's quite good at scrum halves, he doesn't get talked about a lot. But I think give it 2 years or so, he'll be right up there.
Come to Edinburgh, get more game time.
He started with Ben Vellacott.
I'll start on form right now, I would.
Aye. So look, we've danced about that for a while, but you were at the game today. Let's move across the M8 and go back to Edinburgh. How'd you find it?
Good. It was. There was bits that we rarely actually went for the 3 points today. Edinburgh. They actually were like, nope.
But that's rare for Edinburgh.
Kick for the corner, thank you, and it worked. Shout out to Lewis Well, who made his debut for Edinburgh. Youngster, 22 years old. Didn't score, but you know what? It's his debut, and he was fine. And that's all I need. I'm not playing that. I'm not downplaying that. He was fine. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was anyway. So he can somewhat bang, but he just needs to learn how to do it a bit more, obviously.
Yeah.
Fairly solid under the high ball, and he's also not scared to back himself. There was a bit, I think, in the first 10 minutes, Black Lions absolutely hoofed it upfield. Lewis was the only one back, and he got it. And instead of kicking it out, he went, here we go. And he just backed himself, and I'm like, that's great. That's what we need. Darcy was getting him involved. The midfield was getting him involved. They weren't excluding him. They were actually like, right, you and you come, switch with me, stuff like that. And I want to see more. I was quite impressed. But it was a good game. Charlie Shield did really well at the scrum half position.
Yeah.
Ben Healy and James Lang are working really well off each other now. It's so great to see James Lang back.
In that 10 battle, Healy seems to have wrestled that shirt back off of Thompson now. That's a couple of games where Healy's got that shirt back. So there's a good wee tussle going on between the two of them at Edinburgh.
That's what you want, though. You want competition in the jerseys.
Yeah.
But James Lang came back in, and he's working really well at that starting 12. Matt Curry had another good game today in the 13. He has deserved that Scotland call-up. I know some people are like, oh, how's he in it? Matt Curry's been one of the most consistent players for Edinburgh. Basically, every time he played for Edinburgh, he's never had a bad game for Edinburgh.
Yeah, he does struggle to make that breakthrough from club level to international level.
He's young enough, though. He's freakishly young.
How old is Curry?
23. 24, maybe.
See, when you hear the name, like, I always think he's older than that. I forget, the Matt Fagerson effect. I forget how young the player actually is.
Yeah, I'm older than Matt Fagerson by 2 days. There you go. There's your fun fact for the day.
There you go.
But no, the backline was great. Darcy was causing a lot of problems. Didn't score, but doing what Darcy does. The Goose was loose. Wes Houston was right.
He had a great game.
Getting on the score sheet, but we really need Buffelli or Harry Patterson back. And I don't mean to take it off Wes Houston. Wes Houston is the starting 15, for as long as he wants it to be now. That man needs a rest. He is knackered.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, he needs a day off.
Like, even when we went down to Gloucester with a B team, Wes Houston was the starting fullback. He's just there all the time, week in, week out. Forwards, our boy Paddy Harrison getting on the scoreboard, starting, and great performance. Big hits, out on the wing. Some decent passes.
Is there an argument to be made in Scottish rugby to get them both game time if Buffelli doesn't come back to move Ollie Smith across to Edinburgh? Because he doesn't seem to be getting a game time down at Glasgow, and he was looking, before he got his injury, like a good talent. Is there an argument to be made that if he isn't going to be part of Franco Smith's plans after his injury, that he moves across the M8 towards Edinburgh to lighten the load on Wes?
I can see it.
Yeah, me too. Just as you were talking, I was like, that makes sense as a move.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't like being negative, but we all know Buffelli's history especially with the current back problem that he's got.
Yeah.
Harry Patterson gets injured way more regularly than I like.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always freak accidents.
Mm-hmm.
So but I would Ollie Smith to.
I said
to
this on the phone to you. Yeah, sorry, I think there's a wee bit of a delay and it come through. Didn't mean to cut you off. But I was saying on the phone to you that it's a joke. Like, Buffelli got a big money signing to stay in Edinburgh just before he had his injury that's kept him out now the best part of 2 seasons. Because we thought he was going to go to like a Toulon or whatever. So if he's due back in March, is it? Late February, March time? The King is due back. Now, I hope he hits the ground running, right? But if you've been out of the game that long, and you don't, the game's evolved since then, you don't know if you're going to be as an effective player as you were, a couple of years ago. You look at players like the Mish, who are, you thought that the team was permanently going to be built around them, but then the game evolves and their play style just isn't as valued the same as it was. So I'm hoping Boff, is at the same caliber player he was. But if he isn't, would it be worth letting Boff move on and try to get a big money signing, use the Boff money to get someone like Ange Capuzzo from Toulouse? And I know we joked and said, why would he leave and stuff like that, but he doesn't get as much game time as a player of his quality deserves at Toulouse. But if he moved to Edinburgh, he'd be starting every week, and I'm not sure if Boff would be on that much more money than Ange at the moment. Or am I talking complete BS?
I don't know, because I get where you're coming from, but would you leave 6-time European champions, the best club on the planet, to go to little old Edinburgh? And I mean that in the nicest
like the Man
way.
City problem. No, I know what you mean, but it's like the Man City problem, isn't it? It's like, right, are you going to stay for a club that's going to pay you more money? And yeah, you'll get the odd game here and there, but you're going to spend some of the best years of your career sat on the bench because, he's not getting past Ramos or Blair Kinghorn.
So you say that, yeah, all 3-star today.
Yeah. But
And
the game time he does start isn't nearly as much as what he would have liked. So he starts maybe 1 in 4 games, and it's usually he comes on for a cameo appearance when they're taking off a big boy, or when they're resting the big boys. That's when Ange gets most of his game time. Or does he take a step down to a club that's well funded, like Edinburgh have made no secret that the SRU are funding them to challenge to win a URC title. So it's not like he's playing with a bunch of dud players. He's playing with top internationals, even if he was to move to Edinburgh.
I mean, I'm never going to say. If it ever came out that Edinburgh have signed Ange Capozzo, I'll be like, grand. How have we done that?
I mean, look, my number one scenario here is I just hope that Boff returns to what he was, his former glory. That's my number one scenario here. But I'm just thinking you have to keep that possibility in mind that he could come back, but he might not be the player that he once was.
That's fair.
And the player that he once was might not fit into the game the same way as it did when he was at his peak 2 years ago.
Fair. My only issue with Edinburgh today, discipline was a bit poor for the most part. It was just
that was the next spot that I wanted to get onto.
Like Schumann, he did the same thing Matt Ferguson did. Just like slap the ball right in front of the referee. Yellow card, off you go. Right, okay. Magnus Bradbury getting a straight red. Now the minute I seen it, I was like, that's a red. Like I couldn't even be that biased to be like, oh yeah, it's probably just a yellow. Clear as day a red. And I was just like, Jesus, what was that? And then Ben Healy did it as well. Like Ben Healy did the exact same thing. Got a yellow card for it, but I was just like, what? Stop doing this.
I thought Ben Healy was quite fortunate. Once they showed the replays of it, I thought Ben Healy was quite fortunate just to get a yellow card. I thought he was going to get a red as well. They said there was mitigation, but there was a tiny bit of mitigation. It really wasn't much. So, yeah, Edinburgh's discipline was poor.
And my oldest met the boss man. Richard
Everett?
Richard Cockrell. No, I met Richard Cockrell. Lovely lads, by the way.
Yeah. Who still has the highest win record of any Edinburgh coach. So, higher than... I know there was some complaints. Yeah, it was. I'm still recovering from my op, so I was watching the game on the TV. I wasn't at the game, but there were some interesting stats they put out during some of the TMOs and that, and it flashed Richard Cockrell, and it was saying that he's got the highest win rating of any Edinburgh coach, higher than Everett, higher than
Everett. That's not hard, is it?
No, higher. Well, I can't remember his name. Blair. Who's the last coach?
Mike
Scrum
Blair.
half.
Mike Blair.
Yeah, Mike Blair. I don't know why his name. Like I had his face there. His name just wouldn't come to me. Yeah, higher than Mike Blair's. Yeah, higher than anybody's that's coached Edinburgh. Edinburgh also have the bluntest attack in the URC. They need more phases on average than any other team in the URC to make line break.
It's almost like we don't use our weapons properly, like we've said this all season.
Hmm.
Although we were actually breaking, and I know it's against the Black Lions, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them, but we actually played free, expansive rugby for the most part today, and it was a lot of fun. And we actually went for the point. We never went for the points. We went for the corner.
For the corner, and almost a sellout as well. 5 tries. Although after about, it felt like around the 50-minute mark, Edinburgh dropped off. Did they score after the 50-minute mark?
Paddy Harrison got the try after it. Yeah,
like he was. I think wasn't he just after half time. I think early into.
No.
Okay.
Matt Curry scored. It was a very similar play that we did.
Yeah, I thought Matt Curry, Harrison both scored within 45th and 47th minute or something like that.
No, it was a bit later. No, it was a bit later than that. Although the Paddy Harrison one was brutal because there was obviously a plan just before that play started that right, we're going to get Paddy off and Ewan Ashman's going to come on. Paddy literally scores and it comes over the tannoid. Coming off number 2, Paddy Harrison. Coming on, Ewan Ashman was like, a bit harsh, but all right.
Yeah, it's a shame. But look, you want competition going everywhere. And look, if Paddy Harrison was to come up and take Ash's jersey from him, so play it. I've got a real soft spot for Paddy Harrison. We've spoken to him after the game once or twice, and he's a real nice guy.
I mean, so does my oldest now. He got lucky the day with the photos. Oh my god, he met everyone today. Who did he meet? He met Paddy. He met Paddy Harrison. He met Paul Hill. He met Glenn Young. He met Marshall Sykes. He met Jamie Ritchie, who wasn't even playing, but still managed to meet Jamie Ritchie. He met Duhan, shook his hand. Duhan wasn't really into getting photos after the game, but he shook Carter's hand. He met Hamish Watson. Met Charlie Shield. Met Shuey.
I thought he was good when he came on.
Like his dream. That was the dream. He met Shuey. And yeah, I was like, oh my god. Not bad.
No, I like the thing you did in your video. You know, your little match day vlog where you always zoom into the bad, you zoom out, and then it's you and your kit. But it was your wee one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was quite nice.
I always try to do stuff like that, but I never meant it to be filmed that smoothly. Like I literally filmed that just before my dad came to get us, and I went like that. And when I was editing it, and it done it, I was like, "Oh, that was smooth." Oh, like really praised myself on that one. I was like, "Oh,
it was." I watched it. I was like, "Hey."
Oh, but I was clean. So, but yeah, no, little man enjoyed it. Dad enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. We're in the round of 16. Both teams are in the round of 16. That gets me on to my next point, actually, because the groups are done. There is no more European rugby till the start of April, and we're both at home. I hope not on the same day, because I would love to go to both. So we'll start with the Challenge Cup, because I know people don't feel as that's the main.
I'm just getting them up now, because you sent them to me, didn't you?
I've got them. I know them. I know the 2 Scottish ones off by heart.
Right, so 5th, 6th April. Oh, okay, so the dates haven't been confirmed yet.
Yeah, it's like the weekend of the 4th of April or something like that.
I know the Glasgow one has been confirmed, but the Edinburgh one hasn't.
Yes, it has. Not the date,
what,
but the Edinburgh has.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean the date. I mean, because I think they had an exact date, didn't they, for the Glasgow one?
Nope.
No?
4th, 5th, or 6th of April. It's that weekend. They're all like that now. So please, Scottish Rugby or Champions Cup or whoever's doing it, do not have Glasgow and Edinburgh play at home on the same day, because that's Don't do it. I want to go to both. I want to be good.
Could we do one? And I'm not sure if it happened. If Edinburgh was like a 12 o'clock kickoff, but Glasgow was an 8 o'clock kickoff.
Straight up, like,
You think
just
you
drive straight.
Yeah, we just one of us hop in the car and be like, vroom.
Probably that'd be someday. That'd be great filming that.
Yeah.
So the draw's been done. I'm not talking about all the
Mhm.
games because this is a Scottish pod. We're trying to keep it Scottish. Plain and
Mhm.
simple. So Edinburgh are at home at the Hive, taking on the Emirates Lions, which is fine by me. I'm
Well, let's
okay
just
with
hope
that.
it's not as bad as what happened last time when we were over in South Africa.
But they're coming to us.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily travel well, South African
No.
sides, and I'm hoping that they're not going to take the tournament very seriously at all, just because they didn't take it seriously in the Champions Cup. But it gets a bit different when you get to the knockout rounds.
And
I'm just glad we avoided like a Bath or someone like that.
I think we went too high to get a Bath. Do you know what I mean? Like we did too well in the Challenge Cup groups to get, you're getting the team that's been dropped down. Oh, great, thanks.
Where do they rank the teams that drop down from the Champions Cup? Like, are they
I think
seeded
it's
at all, or are they like worse than the teams that finished fourth in the pools?
So
I'm not actually too sure.
I'm sure they just do it on points. I think the top two from each pool gets seeded, and then after that it's like down on based on points. Like I don't know. I haven't a clue. But
so the good thing is, there's been a bit of confusion on this, right? I've seen a couple of places report that Edinburgh will be playing away in the semi-finals, or Edinburgh will be playing home all the way up to the finals. Now, to my understanding, this is how it works. Edinburgh are guaranteed a home last round to 16. They're guaranteed a home quarter final. Now, in the semi-finals, it gets a bit funny. If they play Connacht or Montpellier in the semi-finals, they will be playing away. But if they play anybody else, they'll be playing at home. So let's just hope Connacht and Montpellier meet each other in the semis, and we get I don't know Scarlets at home or something.
Or one of them trips up in the round of 16 or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the two games, and the Challenge Cup at knockouts, I think, is much more competitive than the Champions Cup. Like, if you look at the fixtures,
I've seen something today, and I don't know how true this actually is. Somebody's done like the actual table, like this team would go on to play that team. So Glasgow will be at Scotstoun taking on Leicester Tigers. That is a tasty game.
Yeah.
The winner of that will face Leinster or Quins.
So am I right? Am I right in thinking, right? So if Leinster go through, which they probably will, Glasgow would be going away to the Aviva. But if Harlequins somehow beat Leinster, Glasgow would be hosting Harlequins at Scotstoun.
Yeah. Either way.
That's I'd want the Quins. Oh no, I don't know. Don't go. I'd love to go to the Aviva. Like, how great would that be for Leinster to be knocked out of the Champions Cup by Glasgow?
And the quarterfinals of all time.
Yeah, because that means Leinster would then have to throw all their weight behind the URC to get a trophy. They'd have to throw everything at it.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be quite funny.
So good. But yeah, that's who the teams have been dealt with. We have got URC fixtures next week, and I don't mean it in a horrible way, but who cares? We're so close we are so close to the Six Nations now. I'm like, I don't care. I'd actually rather just a week off and then be like, right, we can just chill.
Yeah.
Let the anticipation build a little bit more, but now we've got to go Champions
So
League.
we'll
We've got
probably play
URC.
our B sides in that. So off the top of my head, I know Glasgow are hosting Connacht. Now,
Yep.
this is where I feel the top sides are a wee bit vulnerable because you would imagine that Connacht will travel without Beelum, Ake, and Mac Hansen, but other than that, they'll bring a fully stacked squad. But
I mean,
Glasgow
Mark
will be
Hansen would be
playing with the
allowed to play.
kids.
Yeah, Glasgow would be like no Kyle Rose, no Kyle Stain, no Sione Tuipulotu, no Tom Jordan, no George Horn, no Xander Ferguson, no Matt Ferguson, no Jack Dempsey.
But even
And
I don't think Batty or Sutherland would play either.
no.
You'd be
Oh,
down to
I think he would get one. I think he would get one or the other.
Right, so I'm trying to think who would be the starting lineup for Glasgow. What you get? Batty,
Batty,
Gregor Hiddleston.
No, Hiddleston went off. Just remember that Hiddleston went off injured. So I don't know. So it would probably be Grant Stewart, maybe. Sam Talakai was at tight head. Alex Samuel with I was going to say Gregor Brown, but he might not be allowed to play either.
Ewan Ferry, he can play lock, can't he?
We're about to find out.
But then it comes to your back row. Who'd you start?
Hinkle Venter will start.
Hinkle Venter.
Possibly with you and Ferry, because we don't know where he's going to have to go.
Who's playing 8?
Do you start Jack Mann? I feel that might be a bit harsh.
No. Jack Mann's in the Scotland team.
Yeah, I know, but
I doubt he'd play.
You're allowed to release players.
I mean, some that aren't expected to play, I suppose you could release them. Okay, let's just say Jack Mann. Ben Ashfar will probably start at 9.
Donkey Weir at 10.
Donkey Weir, Ben Ashfar and Donkey Weir. How's that for a halfback combo? Would Stafford start in the centre? It depends how bad Tuipulotu's injury is.
I haven't a clue.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
See, this is where it gets like
the squads are going to be very interesting this week. Same for Edinburgh because, we were yes, it should be Glasgow dominate. There's 12 Edinburgh players in that Scotland team. So, just from Edinburgh's point of view, there's not going to be any Pierre Schumann, Ewan Ashman. There's not going to be Ewan Ashman or Dave Cherry or Paddy Harrison. One of them will play next week against Scarlets. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Dave Cherry will start that game. Tight head.
Yeah, even the Scarlets are going to be depleted as well.
Good. Not even that depleted. They're only losing like 5 players.
I'm telling you, right now, I'd love to see the Rainbow Cup back. And I think weeks like this would be a perfect time to be like, do you know what? Let's have a Rainbow Cup fixture instead of a URC game.
Yeah, your Rainbow Cup's kind of like the Prem Cup, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't include the South African side just for travel and logistic reasons. But,
can't have that.
What they don't like, they would give a damn about that. They don't give a damn about the Champions Cup. They can't play in the URC, the Currie Cup, the Champions Cup, and the Rainbow Cup.
Nothing. Jesus. Man.
But yeah, I'd have a Rainbow Cup between, and I've talked about this in the past, between the Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and Italian sides. Similar to what the Prem Cup is, more of a development cup, because the URC is going to be affected due to internationals, but all the games round the international windows, when players are still getting rested in that, for marketing reasons, you're still going to want big teams to play. I think that's the perfect opportunity to start to throw in, development players into there. It helps bring young talent through. Fans get to go to games, and I think it's probably the best time to do it. I know that's a what if, Glasgow and Edinburgh are both going to play games where it's going to be luck of the draw because essentially they're pre-season type squads you're going to be playing on both ends.
It'll be very interesting to see what Franco Smith and Sean Everett name for those squads. Because if you get internationals playing those games, you're kind of getting an insight that you're not playing against Italy the next week.
Yeah.
Which is
I've had the nod. I've had the nod from the higher ups that playing, so get out this week. That must be a wee bit deflating. Although I suppose the players should be told you're 50-50 for a bench spot, that's what you're playing for. So get out there, show us what you're up to. Gregor will be watching. It could be something like that, I'd imagine.
Probably for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, let's try to wrap this up a wee bit then.
I've made a mess. I know who could start for Glasgow. Johnny Matthews, because he's not even in the squad. He could start quite easily.
Hey! How have we forgot about the big man? Johnny Matthews will start. Oh, yeah.
Johnny Matthews, there we go. So that's fine.
We have both messed that one up.
Right, okay, so we did this last week. And we'll see if anything's changed. I think one or two things might change, especially on the Matthews front.
Power rankings. Right.
A power ranking / Yeah.
Because I feel like we don't even need to go through each position because loose head doesn't change.
No, so Shuey is starting. It's just we'll do this because the Six Nations are approaching, right? We will go through a 23, who our 23-man squad would be if we were playing Italy tomorrow. Who would we pick? Right? So Shuey's starting. We're going to take one prop on the bench. It's going to be between Suz and Batty. Who's our backup?
Suz.
I'm probably with you there. Right. Who is our starting hooker? I still have Richardson for me.
I'll go Ashy. I'll go Ashman.
Ashy. I'll give you that one because I'm assuming you're going to have Richardson on your bench.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we start Ashy, bench Richardson. I'd have it the other way about, but I'll leave that for you one. Xander Fagerson starts at tight head. Hard on the bench.
No, I'm going to. Nah, I don't know. The tight head position's a mess because Darcy Ray actually plays more.
Yeah, Hard needs experience though, and is Italy.
Fucking play for your club, then you plum. I know it's not that. I know it's not his fault. I know it's not his fault, but Christ.
Right. So
watch this. I've said that, and Will Hard will start for Leicester Tigers next week. Bet you.
So all right. Well, he will next week because the English lads will be getting rested. So all the Scots will be starting. So you're right. Hard will start for his club next week.
Yeah, there we go.
Right, so it's Hard on the bench or Ray on the bench?
No, I'm going for Ray. Well, Will Hard's got next week to prove me wrong.
Right, okay.
Cummings is out. Let's go on the assumption that Cummings is out to make it interesting, right? So we've got Gilchrist, Craig, Samuel.
Well, wait a minute.
Or Johnny Gray.
Well, because Alex Craig and Alex Samuel aren't in the Scotland team.
Oh yeah, Alex Square isn't in there. I'm gonna have to bring up who we picked again.
So you'd be starting. Well, I'd be starting Johnny Gray with Grant Gilchrist, and I'd have Gregor Brown on the bench.
I would make one alteration, and I'm taking this one because you got the hooker position. I would go Johnny Gray and Gregor Brown as my starters, and I'd have Gilco on the bench.
That's fine. I'm good with that.
Right. Our 6-7-8 combo. I'm assuming it's that Glasgow.
Oh yeah,
three, is it?
That's resurrected itself. It's all good. Yeah, Jack Dempsey's back, so we're all good there.
Right, so we get to pick. So just for people listening, that's Matt Fagerson, Rory Darge, and Jack Dempsey. They are our backline cover. We get to pick one. We're going to go a 5-3 split. We get to pick one person as cover here.
Josh Bayless.
Who is ours? So we've got Jamie Ritchie, Josh Bayless. Actually, Bayless for me.
I said Bayless before you even rattled off the options. I went Josh Bayless, and you just carried on. So I'm looking up like.
So I never heard you.
I'm like, did he even hear that?
This one, yeah, realistically, it's Bayless or Ritchie. I'd pick Bayless myself. It's got a bit more.
See, I've kind of contradicted myself there because the last video I did on Scotland in the Autumn Nations was the Three Things series that I've been doing. And I was like, let Josh Bayless start. He's great off the bench, but let's see what he could do from the start. So, and then I've just said, no, start Dempsey.
Yeah, we said that last week actually. So our starter, I'll just quickly write this down, is Shuey, Ashman, Xander, Gray, Brown, Matt Fagerson, Darge, Dempsey, Dempsey, and our subs we've got so far. We've got Suz, Richardson, Ray, Gilco,
Bayless,
and Bayless.
Oh.
Right, so that's our forward. So going into our backs, right, who are we starting at scrum half?
George Horn.
Yeah, George Horn for me. I didn't like Dobie starting at scrum half against Harlequins. I thought he's much more effective off the bench. So we're going Horn. 10, are we going Russell? I guess.
Oh, I wonder. Yeah, sure, why
Ross
not?
Thompson?
Behave. Yeah, no offense.
Talking of fly half options, I glossed over this, so I'm going to quickly throw this in here now. Adam Hastings due to be back for the England game. So that's what I've heard today. Hastings back for England. And just quick one before we go any further. If Hastings returns for England, do you boot Fergus Burke out of the squad at that stage and move Hastings straight back in as that cover? Or does Fergus Burke keep Hastings out?
So you'll probably find they'll just add Hastings and not remove anyone. But
okay,
if it's up to me, if Fergus Burke is capped before Hastings returns, no. If he's not capped, you probably could, yeah.
I would imagine that they'll try to cap Burke during the Italy game. Yeah. I'd imagine so. He'd be. I think him and TJ will probably both be on the bench. Okay, so Horn Russell. Just to play devil's advocate here, let's go on the assumption that Tui Pilotu's out. Who's your midfield partnership?
Roy
both going Hutchie?
I want a hug. Okay, I forgot that. Fuck, I forgot it. Huggy, I want a huggy.
Huggy. Hutchinson and Jones. Hopefully, Tui Pilotu starts. Because when I read this out next week, I'll be thinking, why is Hutchinson sitting there? Back three option, I can't argue Kyle Stain because he's out for this one. Duhan, Darcy, and Kinghorn?
Yeah.
Right, so Dewey, Darcy, Kinghorn. Right, we get to pick three subs. For me, it'd be Dobie, Burke, and TJ. I'm not sure about you.
I will agree with you, but I'm really torn between Ben White and Jamie Dobie. And it's the minutes thing that's hurting Ben White, because Ben White, for us, is fantastic.
Yeah.
But he's just not getting any... It's the Will Hurd situation all over again.
So,
I'll say, just for this, I'll say Dobie, Fergus Burke, and TJ.
Well, we can go White, but let's see. So Dobie. All right, Dobie.
Because Ben White is great for us, but his minutes since the Autumn Nations has really hindered him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Would he be up to match fitness? Like, as an individual player, I think that White's ahead of Jamie Dobie, but it's just, do you? Because now you said that, I'm thinking, maybe I would start White, but
see, the annoying bit is, like, Ben White has been great for Scotland and has been our starting scrum half for pretty much since he came in, near enough. But he's not getting game time under Baptiste Thuram at Tone, who is not even in the French team, which must really sink the hoof in. So that doesn't help. But
bring him to Edinburgh. Ollie Smith and Ben White to Edinburgh.
I can see Ben White actually going back down to the Prem.
Yeah, I think so too. He needs to go. If he's not getting the game time at Toulon, he needs to move. Look, I'm going to have to wrap this up because my phone's almost dead. So just to confirm, we'll dance through our starting 15. I'm sure it'll make a nice clip at some point. So our starting 23, actually, 23-man Scotland squad to place Italy. As of today, it's Schumann, Ashman, Xander Fagerson at the front, Johnny Gray and Brown as your locks, Matt Fagerson, Rory Darge, Jack Dempsey, back row. Horn and Hastings as your halfback partnership. Hutchinson and Joe. Did I say Hastings? I meant to say Russell. Horn and Russell as your halfback partnership. Hutchinson and Jones is your midfield partnership. Assuming that Tui Pilotu is injured, if Tui Pilotu is fit, he goes straight in. Back three of Dewey, Darcy, and Kinghorn. And our subs are Rory Sutherland, Richardson, Darcy Ray, Gilchrist, Bayliss, Jamie Dobie, TJ, and Fergus Burke. And we win that opening game 52-12.
What prediction?
52-12, that's the one.
That'd be great.
Aye.
What a start.
Hope it
yeah,
happens.
so next week we're back with URC. Can you tell how unexcited I am for that? And I don't even mean it.
And usually we're both huge advocates for the URC, but it's not the same. So we'll go next week. We'll gloss over the URC. We'll go through injuries, but it'll be quite heavily a Six Nations preview pod because well, that's what it'll be. I mean, it will be a Six Nations preview pod because the next pod that we do then after that will be after the Italy game.
Yeah, but at least we've got the under 20s as well. Actually, that's how we'll end on that. We could sound so unpatriotic with it. So, if you don't know, Scotland under 20s campaign begins on the 31st of January, and it happens to be the same time that France take on Wales in the Six Nations. So, me and Dan decided we're going to get drunk as and watch Wales France first instead of going to the under 20s game.
we might do a special pod but after the Scotland squad gets named for the first game, just like we did when Gregor Timson named the full squad, depending if our schedules will match up. A quick reaction, or if you're over Friday, we get a few beers in, and we'll do a live sort of thing. Anyway, look, my phone's about to die, so we'll leave it there for this week. As happy as Murray's looking right now. And we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
See you later.